In this video, I'll be listing 3 of the worst practice mistakes pianists make at all levels. For each mistake on this list, we'll explore what the mistake looks like, the cost of engaging in the mistake, and what to do instead. Along the way, you'll learn a system for practice I've created called S3I that's specifically designed to help you avoid these mistakes, and that's based on the strategies professional pianists use to learn pieces as efficiently as possible. It's a system that I've used to help me get into Juilliard and place in multiple international competitions, and that I've seen dramatically accelerate my own students' progress. Mistake number 1, not fixing mistakes right away. This mistake doesn't just slow down progress. If you're not careful, it can actively reverse it. It looks like this. You've got the notes learned for a section and up to tempo, and now you're running it through to make it feel more secure. You start playing and you miss a note. But instead of stopping to fix it right away, you decide you'll continue on and get to the end of the section. It happens all the time, and it seems innocent enough, right? But there's 3 things that happen when you play through a mistake that make this a bigger deal than you might think. Number 1, you reinforce the wrong muscle memory. Muscle memory is built from what you actually play, not what you meant to play. So when you make a mistake and keep going, you've essentially communicated to your muscle memory, yeah, that was a good one, let's keep it. Next time you play through, you'll be more likely to make that same mistake again. And the longer you ignore it and the more you repeat it, the deeper and deeper it gets ingrained into your muscle memory. The deeper that mistake is ingrained in your muscle memory, the longer it's going to take to fix that mistake when you finally sit down and try to fix it. Number 2, you lose information that would help you fix the mistake. By the time you reach the end of the section, it's often very difficult to remember exactly what mistake you made, and very difficult to remember why you made that mistake. For example, if you missed a note, was it because of a bad fingering? Was it because you're not used to the change in the hand position at that spot? Was it because you were tense there? Was it because you have bad muscle memory? Any of these reasons could apply. Knowing why you made the mistake matters, because the more you know about why you made the mistake, the easier it is to fix it. This is because when you know why a mistake happened, you know your muscle memory's current tendencies, and that gives you a much better idea of what to think about consciously while repeating that trouble spot to fix the mistake. This makes fixing that mistake much faster and easier. Number 3, practice becomes overwhelming. When we play through mistakes, we almost always make more mistakes on our way to the end of the section. As a result, it becomes near impossible to remember everything that happened and why. Overwhelmed by all the mistakes with no clear picture of what to work on first, most students just run the section again, hoping the mistakes will go away on their own. And they rarely do. So you end up repeating the same mistakes over and over again, which loops you right back to consequence number 1, ingraining those errors even deeper and even deeper. It's a really vicious cycle. Okay, so playing through your mistakes is bad, but what should we do instead? 2 things. It's simple, but it takes a lot of discipline, and it's the first 2 letters of our S3I system I promised in the intro. Stop immediately after you hear a mistake. Please note, by mistake, I really mean anything that doesn't sound exactly how you want it to sound in a performance. For beginners, that might be just the notes and rhythms, but for advanced pianists, that might be voicing issues or phrasing issues or bad tone, etc. Identify. Figure out exactly what happened, and to the best of your ability, explain to yourself why that mistake happened. If possible, you should ask yourself why to that why. Here's what I mean. For example, here in the Bach, I keep playing F instead of E. So I should ask myself, why do I keep playing F instead of E? Well, it's because I'm moving my hand too far to the right. Okay, why am I moving my hand too far to the right? Well, maybe I'm just used to moving it too far, and I'm not used to the change in the hand position yet. Because I asked those 2 whys, I know exactly why the mistake happened, and I know exactly what to think about consciously when I repeat that trouble spot to fix the mistake. But there's a problem. Many students do stop when they make mistakes, but it still takes them twice as long, and sometimes 10 times as long, if not longer, to fix those mistakes because of mistake number 2. I'm serious. Mistake number 2, not starting close enough to your mistakes. Oftentimes, students have a goal of fixing a specific mistake, but when they start the repetitions to fix that spot, they start all the way at the beginning of the phrase, or worse, the beginning of the section. It's like practicing jumping over a hurdle, but you start your run from half a mile away. Let me show you what I mean with a real example from a recent lesson of mine where having my students start closer to the mistake sped up his learning by 3 times. We were working in the third to last measure of the Beethoven Sonatina in G major. It's a tricky spot in the piece, and we worked on it for probably 7 minutes, working from slow to fast with a metronome, starting on that measure. Now, imagine if we just started at the beginning of that phrase. Only 2 more measures. Very common, happens all the time. I mean, it's just 2 extra measures. It couldn't be that bad, right? But that's 3 measures versus 1. If it took the same or a similar amount of repetitions to fix that mistake, that's 21 minutes of practice versus 7. And that's genuinely a conservative example. There are sometimes 4, 5, or 6 or more measures before the mistake you're trying to practice, and oftentimes students continue beyond the mistake each repetition. And for all those extra measures, it's not just about wasted time anymore. You risk making mistakes on those measures on the way to the mistake you're trying to practice. And for all those mistakes, you're forced to make a bad choice. Either you ignore those mistakes and reinforce bad muscle memory, or you work on those new mistakes and the progress on the other mistake stalls. Add this all up, and you can see why it's genuinely not an exaggeration to say that in some cases, failing to start close to the mistake makes fixing that mistake take 10 times longer. So what's the solution? It's the second I in our S3I system. Isolate. Isolate precisely where that mistake is. That means choose a starting place that's close to the mistake and repeat from that spot up to the mistake over and over until it feels so secure you know you can't make the mistake again. Make sure to use the information from the identify step to guide your conscious attention throughout each repetition. Mistake number 3, not practicing until you can't get it wrong. It's very common for students to work on a trouble spot in isolation and practice it until they get it right a few times or maybe even many times. By the end, there's still incorrect repetitions happening, but it's only happening every couple of tries. And, they figure, I've played it correctly so many times that it must be fixed, and they move on. The result of this type of practice is that these mistakes tend to come back over and over again every practice session, and it feels like your time that you put in was wasted. If we want our practice to really stick and to feel like our hard work is actually paying off, we have to practice not just until we get it right once or a few times or even many times, but until we can't get it wrong.
But Greg, I'm not trying to become a professional pianist. I'm just doing this as a hobby. Why would I need to hold myself to such a high standard?
Because it actually saves you time to do this. And in many cases, those mistakes will not go away unless you practice like this. Let me explain. Simply put, when we repeat something over and over again, we're communicating to our brain that this is something we should remember. Without a lot of repetition, our brain will just disregard the correct reps and progress will reset the next day. Take this analogy to really drive this point home. Practicing until you get it right a few times is like making dough for a batch of cookies and putting it in the oven for 1 minute every day, over and over again. You can't expect yourself to have cookies if you never let them bake. So how do we know when they're done baking, so to speak? A good rule of thumb is to practice those spots in isolation until you get it correct at performance tempo 7 times in a row. That means if you make a mistake on the 5th repetition, you reset your count to 0. After you've played that treble spot in isolation correctly 7 times in a row, we move on to the last step in the S3I system to really make sure this mistake never happens again. Incorporate. We incorporate that fragment we've practiced back into the music. We do this by now starting from the beginning of the phrase up to the mistake, playing it correctly 3 times in a row at performance tempo. Here's why that step really matters. When we isolated that treble spot, we built new muscle memory. So when we go back to the beginning of the phrase, our brain is going to want to use the old muscle memory. By playing that treble spot 3 times in a row from the beginning of the phrase, we're effectively incorporating that new muscle memory into the context of the rest of the piece. We're basically telling our brain, use this muscle memory and not this one. As a heads up, when you first start from the beginning of the phrase, it's very common to make that old mistake again. But don't worry, this is very normal. It just means your brain hasn't sorted out which muscle memory to use yet. It should sort itself out in a few tries. However, if after a few tries, you find you're making the same mistake again, you've got to go back to the isolation step. Play it 7 times in a row correctly again, and then go back to the incorporation step. Okay, I know this is a lot to remember, so I've actually made a 1-page PDF cheat sheet that you can get for free by clicking the link in the description. I hope you all found this video helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comments, leave a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.